I'm not going to take too much of your time. Just really quickly introduce the speakers. We have Olga Werby, one half of Pipsqueak Productions and an interface design expert with a doctorate from UC Berkeley on internet-based learning. We also have Rishabh Iyer, who's co-founder and chief scientist at Topsy Lab. And finally, we have Jason Tester, the research director in human future interaction at the Institute for the Future. So very exciting to hear from all three of you, and I'd like to invite Olga actually to get us started.
All right, well, hello, I'm Olga Werby, and I'm going to talk really, really fast. I'm going to use my New York background to get through all the slides and all the things I would like to say. So I'm here to talk about crisis mapping and Ushahidi, and I sort of wanted to know who ever heard of crisis mapping? Okay, good. And Ushahidi? Even better. All right, so let me jump right in. And I want to start by showing you these images. This is the Haiti earthquake image, so it's right before the earthquake and right after. And there's two things I want you to pay attention to. One is just the total amount of devastations you can see on the bottom image. And you can see that this kind of image, this satellite image, would be really useful for organizations trying to deliver aid on the ground post the disaster. And also the other thing, interesting thing of note is the difference in quality, in image quality. We just weren't particularly interested in looking at the Port-au-Prince, Haiti before the earthquake. So sharp difference in the quality of satellite imagery. And one of the companies that was instrumental in saving people on the ground in the middle of earthquake was Ushahidi. And let me give you a little of a background for Ushahidi. It's almost 5 years old now. And it started in Kenya when a whole bunch of people wanted to show the world what was going on during their election. And people were being beaten up on street corners. And what the early Ushahidi founders, early folks, they wanted to say, okay, here it's happening. It's happening on this street corner. It's happening at this hour. We want to share it. We want other people to put in the data. You know, we want to improve the quality of our democracy. And subsequent to that first use of Ushahidi, the first release, Ushahidi was used all over the world. But it was really the Haiti earthquake disaster that put Ushahidi on the map, so to speak. And what I would like to do is show you this video, this news footage that's happening like days afterwards. And just a little note, this is Patrick Meyer. He's one of the founders. And he happened to be also a student at Tufts, graduate students at Tufts University. And obviously, he had full knowledge of what Ushahidi could do. And he was able to get efforts organized. So let me play this video.
Mapping out the disaster area.
It's a project for a group of students at the Fletcher School at Tufts University. And NBCN's John Maroney live in Medford, Massachusetts with a closer look at what they're doing and how it's going. John?
Artie, this is the Haitian Situation Room at Tufts University. Check it out. These are students from the Fletcher School, and they're monitoring news reports out of the country. They started a couple of days ago when they learned a group of Fletcher students were trapped there by the earthquake.
The race is on for any and all information out of Haiti. These students at the Fletcher School at Tufts University are scouring the internet looking for details about the massive earthquake.
It's just been really, really tragic sifting through all of this information. We are seeing a lot of missing people. I mean, we've had cases of where we're reporting people who are literally trapped in buildings who are seeking assistance via mobile phones.
It's been an around-the-clock effort for more than 48 hours. They're monitoring Twitter, Facebook, news reports, and emails from the island nation. All of the information is then posted on a public website, providing a small glimpse into what's happening on the ground.
It's a public website that anybody can submit information to on developments in Haiti, on important critical events that the UN and other humanitarian organizations need to have.
This is personal for students at the Fletcher School. 7 of their colleagues were in Haiti when the earthquake struck. They're all safe, but it's brought together an already close-knit student body.
All of them are, in fact, okay, but 2 are staying back to remain in the country for a while to, I presume, to get a closer look at what's going on.
So
We are back now. These folks are working the night shift. They've actually broken this into day and night shifts. They will be monitoring it, RD, as long as they have volunteers to do it.
John Maroney at the Fletcher School at Tufts this evening. Thank you. We have
So as you can see, this was really out of the dorm living room. It's just a bunch of students sitting day and night and entering information that they could get from, you know, the universe out there, right? The Twitter feeds, the Facebook information, the Skype information, the texting that was going on the ground. And it's right here is really where the term crisis mapping was born. And what I would like to do is take you through the components of crisis mapping. What is it exactly when we are, you know, when we are talking about crisis mapping, what is it that we mean? And hold on a second. All right. And I'm stuck. All right, so there's 3 main components of crisis mapping. There's the sourcing. How do you actually get those data points that you can plot on a map? There's the analysis. How do you present all that data to the people so that they can visualize it or work with it? And then response is how do you take that data and turn it into action? Because it's nice, as nice as it is to know somebody is buried somewhere, you also want to give that information to somebody who can get that person out. And we can divvy it up even further, and we can talk about sourcing. And what we just saw in the video is the crisis map coding. And the idea is you get all kinds of places all over the internet, and you're trying to get all that data, and then you sit down and normalize the data, and you're trying to enter it into some kind of medium, some kind of platform for everybody to share. There's participatory crisis mapping. It's about people who are actually in crisis trying to map these data points, to enter the information. So when we talk about the burst of Ushahidi, it started out as participatory crisis mapping. They were mapping what was going on to the population during the election. When you talk about mobile crisis mapping, obviously it's all about how you collect the data, and it's about the mobile devices, whether it's be a cell phone or a satellite or drone. It's just about how you get it. And automated crisis mapping is really interesting for a lot of people in this room, I think, and it's about how do you set up algorithms and programs that would gather the data, figure out what's important, normalize it, and then use that, again, as data points on the map. And then we can do the same thing for crisis map analysis. There's visualization. How do you take this data and show it so that everybody can share it? And Ushahidi is one way of doing it. There are many other crisis mapping platforms now. Crisis mapping analytics is about trying to figure out data that you can only see once you have all the data there. And an example I have is there was an outbreak of cholera in Haiti. Imagine if you were able to use a crisis map and plot instance of the disease. When did this person got sick and where? Maybe you'll be able to trace it down to the origin, the source, the patient number 1, and then you'll be able to respond to that epidemic much better. And then crisis modeling refers to running simulations on the data. Then crisis map response, there's this dissemination of information. How do you get that information in the hands of people who can do something? How do you get it to the medics that they can go and then save people? Decision support group is very important. You have all this data, but how do you decide when to act? So you have to come up with some kind of rules and triggers for decision making. And then there's monitoring and evaluation. It's about using that data that you have collected to try to do some kind of research. And I thought it would be interesting to run through sort of an abstract example using Haiti. So the way I see it, there's an event on the ground, and there's eyewitness. And they're able to take pictures, they tweet about it, they call their loved ones, and they say, "Mom, I'm okay." They're Skyping, they're posting stuff on Facebook. They are, they're tweeting and they're YouTubing, they're using all the media that's available to them to get that information out. And it really is like digital smoke signals. And then there's, of course, all the CNNs, BBCs of the world that descend on the disaster, and they start writing reports, and they're generating articles. And as you can imagine, there's this massive feedback loop where you have people who are retweeting the information, the articles that they see, and then again, when the reporters are taking the information that they see that people out on the ground are posting and using that in their articles. And all of that flood of data, I mean, it's inundating people who actually have to make decisions on the ground. People who are coming in there with ships, people who are coming in there with resources, with water, with medical supplies. They have to deliver help on the ground at this event, and it's very difficult when you are inundated with data. And so what Ushahidi is this amazing medium. It's the platform that allows all of these people to share information and to be able to act upon figure out what's important, what's not important, what's actionable, what's not actionable. And one of the problems with Haiti, just an example, there were very few maps available. And what would the Ushahidi volunteers able to do is they can say, okay, there's this triangle. There's nothing happening here, right? The square, obviously. Can we get somebody to use satellite imagery and trace out the roads? Can somebody put in where the power lines are? Where's the gas lines? What are the street names? So they were able to come up with this critical piece of information, and they were able to do it with volunteers all over the world because people really, really wanted to help. And so if you're an operations center, you are really lucky when you can get just the right information at the right time, and it's actionable and you can do something. And that's just really rare. So most of the times you have issues. And one of them, for example, in Haiti, was that you didn't get information in the language that the aid organizations were hoping for. Most of the aid organizations were working in English and French, while the people on the ground was in Creole. So how do you get those texts that are saying somebody's buried here, translate it, and get it in the hands of people who can go in and do something? The other one, it's great to find out that somebody is buried in the rubble, but if you're finding out a week later, it's very difficult to save them. You want to get information at the right time really fast. Quality of data, you want to have, we have multiple people reporting on the same piece of data, you have higher reliability. And of course, some data that doesn't have all the pieces is very important, so like the map. So you're able to do all of that if you have a platform that's mediating it. And Ushahidi did that. That and thousands of volunteers who participated. And I love this tweet. Crisis map of Haiti represents the most comprehensive and up-to-date map available to humanitarian community. So that's kind of cool, right? And similar tweets were coming in from the military as well. This is what it looks like. There are several thousand data points, and you can see sort of the tweets, the information coming in from people on the ground. We need type O blood versus mainstream, and you can sort it by health, security threat, by damage. And it's not available anymore because of the privacy concern. Somebody should do an unbelievable, research project using this data source. But that's sort of what it looks like. And since then, thousands of Ushahidi maps went up. And for example, there's right after the Japanese earthquake came up and did radiation damage, and it's in Japanese, and it was up within hours. Very interesting maps coming out of Syria, sort of heartbreaking. And it's really easy. Ushahidi sets up and runs its own servers. they have unbelievable support structures. You can go visit Ushahidi to see what's available right now. The wiki has extensive wiki on how to set it up. Crowd Mappers is a LinkedIn group that I set up for people who are thinking about doing something like that. And as long as you have clear goals, you can really do it. And I have 2 more slides. So Cost of Chicken is a crowd map for food anthropology. It's done by high school students here in San Francisco. What they want to know is the quality of food and the price of food, the true costs of food around the world. And it's the longest running Ushahidi map. And you can think of it as a sandbox. If you want to find out how to use Ushahidi, if you just want to have firsthand experience, go down to your neighborhood Safeway store, find out how much chicken costs, how much bread costs, put a report on a map, and you'll get to see how easy or how hard it is to work. And that's the class. That's the high school class. This is Miss Lubinow in Lowell High School. So everybody should just go out, run out, and set up their own crowd map. Hopefully it's not in crisis, though. So thank you.
Thank you.